We're the middle children of history, man. No purpose or place.
You have a kind of sick desperation in your life?
What are we then?
You know, consumers. Right. Murder, crime, poverty, these things don't concern me. What concerns me are celebrity magazines, television with 500 channels, some guy's name on my underwear.
That what a man looks like?
Our fathers were models for God. If our fathers bailed, what does that tell you about God?
We should do this again sometime.
There's a whole bunch of misconceptions about this movie, coming both from the left and the right. Honestly, on YouTube I couldn't even find like the red pill take on the movie whenever red pill wasn't completely dead yet. Well, these motherfuckers are usually too lazy to make like a full-on review of something.
What's going on, guys? Welcome on back to the channel for yet another reaction video. Today we are checking out Fight Club.
I'm not here to present some like ideologically motivated whatever deconstruction on the basis of feminism, applying the 3 rules of red pill to deconstruct a piece of media. No, it's why I think this movie, why I personally hold the movie in such a high regard, why I think it applies in a current day more than when it was made, pretty much. It's a story about a guy that's a socially inept loner with no friends, no family, no real reason to live, really. He went the right route in life. He got a good job. He did all the things that people say you gotta do to fulfill yourself, and yet he finds himself at like age, I don't know, late 20s, maybe early 30s, where he can't sleep. He finds himself becoming an insomniac, and he tries to go through the proper routes, and you know, this being early 2000s, he doesn't really find help. And even then, even nowadays, in many countries, in many places of even modern countries, it is the case where doctors will not take you seriously, and family members especially will not take anything like emotional, like mental health wise related. They will not take that seriously. They will just tell you, maybe you should get a girlfriend, that's gonna fix you. You should rely on a relationship to pull you back up. You should find a person that you basically hire as your personal therapist, not a girlfriend, a personal therapist. Well, the doctors blow him off. They tell him, why don't you go step into the cancer ward? Why don't you attend like one of these cancer meetings where people like basically walk each other through the final days of their life or months of their life? That's real pain. Not being able to sleep, that's not the real pain. So he does that, and he finds like a strange connection with them. Even though he doesn't necessarily suffer from the same thing or anything remotely close to what they're going through, it's like just like the pureness of the emotion, or like being able to relate to the despair that they're going through. He relates to it despite his condition being completely different than theirs. He probably doesn't even know how to describe what he's going through. I bet that sounds real familiar to some of you. I know it does to me. They say the first step of curing yourself of something is finding the reason, or like the underlying condition. It's not always so easy. The average male's range of emotion goes from anger to anger. through different types of anger. That's how most men express their feelings. What happens when an anxious, socially awkward retard, or not really a retard, but what happens when an anxious, socially awkward guy with a chip on his shoulder is inevitably pushed to the edge? Because years and years of going through this daily routine without a clear purpose in your mind, without the feeling of making any progress in life, will eventually wear someone like that down. The feeling of wasting your life away, the feeling of not being enough of a man. You've always done everything by the rules. You always avoided conflict. You never wanted to get into any physical altercations. You never stood up for yourself. Not to your boss, not to your classmates, not to your co-workers. You always wanted to be like in the shadow or like away from trouble. You never were in a fist fight before. You go too far into that direction and your life is fucked up. You're basically like a carpet for everyone to walk over. People take advantage of you, your coworkers, your boss just gives you a whole bunch of tasks that they know you will go through because they told you to, and you have no backbone for yourself. You start to feel like a total fucking pussy, especially, you know, depending on the environment, depending on how conservative it is. People start viewing you as a fucking pussy, start talking about you behind your back. Like the tough guy, like insecure kind of bullies will pick on you. That's what it is. And there's two choices really. Either you fold completely and I don't know, you have some sort of a breakdown, take your life, or you develop some kind of a reactionary response where you start manifesting like some personality deviation basically. Not saying you literally start seeing Tyler Durden, obviously, but you develop some kind of a reactionary kind of feeling. You want to do something. You think there's some kind of a one event that you can do, like there's some kind of a hero path that you can take. This could go in many different ways, but you know, some kind of a terror event is not out of the option. It really depends on how far down that rabbit hole you are. And sometimes people develop this kind of a hyper masculine kind of attitude where they will go into the opposite direction as far as possible. Maybe they start listening to people like Andrew Tate, because there has not been a real thing like feminism for men. All the past or current movements are trash, let's be fucking real. I mean, who are our thought leaders? Some fuck-ass rapist who sex trafficked multiple minors into a country known for sex trafficking issues? Fucking aged-out millennial wannabe counterculture, gay pole dancer who watched Matrix one time and he can't get it out of his head. He can't say one sentence without referencing The Matrix. Some Botox injecting fuckboy, botched nose surgery getting fucking ODing in front of or inside of fucking nightclubs because he can't make content while sober. Or maybe some Turkish ethno-nationalist dog zapist with an inflated sense of ego who speaks and thinks on 75% speed, who fucking visits brothels in EU despite fully knowing the exploitation that goes on there, which then get investigated for sex trafficking and minor exploitation. I mean, he spoke at length about ex-Soviet Union countries who then, these women coming from ex-Soviet Union countries then get exploited in such places. He knows about this, he spoke about it even recently, yet he went to these places. What does that say about him? Those are our thought leaders? That's what he presents himself as. He's like the alternative. He presents himself as the healthy alternative to the Red Pill or whatever. All these people are not human, not fully. It pisses me off, man. These people want to tell me how to live when they're fucking raping women. They're raping minors, literally. What the fuck? That's what Fight Club is about. That's what the movie is about. It's about these kinds of frauds that present themselves as like the alternative to the modern life. How to be a man in the current day and age. They latch onto some kind of an underlying issue that actually exists, and there's basically absolutely zero competition to them. There is no real competition to whatever these people are, these thought leaders. There is nobody like that. There's no feminism for men, well, basically. And it pisses me off that these people try to take advantage of me, basically. They present a fuck-ass, cheap-ass excuse to an extremely convoluted problem that is why your life is miserable. Oh, it's feminism, it's immigration, Like you're angry for a variety of convoluted reasons, hard to identify reasons. And then here comes a fucking semi-charismatic figure who can identify some kind of a real problem, lack of purpose, of confidence, dating experience. They start harping on it, pushing their own twisted worldview. And so long as at least a minor portion of what they're saying is true, and there is no competition, they will succeed at it. They're gonna sell you their bullshit. They're gonna make you buy their courses. They're gonna make you buy their tax the rich shirts. Most people will eventually realize that nothing in their life is improving and move on. But some, they will just fucking be stuck forever in that loop, in that community. Even though the whole Red Pill thing has largely gone back into obscurity, there's still no real competition, It runs deeper than just some simple depression, the lack of meaning, lack of direction, lack of community, guidance, lack of father figure, lack of self-respect, of a fundamental understanding of yourself. Like, you're incapable of expressing your emotions properly. You don't even know what you feel. Like I said, the male spectrum of emotion goes from anger to anger. You're caught in a spiral. You want to do something. You want to fucking do something. But what? What? It's not a thing that you solve with one single action, right? There's no one thing you can do to unfuck yourself from this situation. You're in an ocean full of rapists trying to take advantage of you. Whether it's state or piker, Perfect breeding ground for extremist ideologies. They will try to create a purpose for you. You will live and die by whatever bullshit the algorithm recommends you. The movie doesn't really offer an answer to it in and of itself, but I think you can take elements of the movie and construct an incomplete, but at least somewhat of an answer when it comes to redefining masculinity. Tyler talks about how, the clash between old masculinity and the modern reality. There isn't a war that you have to go and fight for survival in. The murder doesn't really concern you when you're middle class or even working class in a lot of places. You can't perform some idealized heroic acts that didn't really look like it in reality. They're just like some romanticized version of whatever masculinity is supposed to be in media. There's a scene where Tyler is pointing at a sculpted fucking guy on a poster in a bus, and they're making fun of, like, what, is this supposed to be a man? Or just because he goes to the gym, he says, like, self-improvement is masturbation, because a lot of these self-improvement courses really are just masturbation. And you're not the one masturbating. You're getting jizzed on by whoever is performing the curse. There's a generation of men raised by women, That really does speak to me, because my father bailed. What does that tell me about God? He talks about the sort of like independence from female attraction. It is really cringe how a lot of men will only do like lots of things just to have a chance at impressing a woman. That is such a stupid fucking thought that a lot of men have. Still, to some extent, I do too. It's just, the idea that the ultimate test of a man is impressing a female is the worst, the stupidest, most fucking subhuman, also kind of sexist idea, Like, the idea that you have to fucking, like, whenever there's a woman in the room, you have to start chimping out and pretending to be some, like, it's so fucking toxic, bro. He talks about all these products that you don't need. You're not your fucking khakis, you're not the contents of your wallet. You're not some retarded fucking product that they advertised you. You wouldn't even buy this shit. There's a one cool scene in the movie when there's this yin and yang table blown out the window after Tyler blows up the narrator's apartment. And the yin and yang table is just there in the ashes. And the thing is, the narrator and Tyler, the narrator and Tyler are like yin and yang. The narrator represents the most radical, like the furthest you can go into the cucked zone, while Tyler represents the further you can go into like the hyper toxic masculinity, kind of a terrorist thing. And the answer is in the middle, because neither of these people are what you're supposed to be. Ideally, you're supposed to be both of these combined. That's what I take from this movie, is that you're not supposed to be some cocked loser that is absolutely scared of everything and everyone. You know, being shy is not a good quality. Being introverted, I'm such an introvert, that is not good. You need to push yourself to go out. You need to push yourself to be with people and fucking actually do some things in society. And being an absolute fucking demon that is just like trying to completely dominate everyone in the room and beat the fuck out of everyone he doesn't like, and you know, does all these like unpredictable things, actual terrorism. that obviously you're not supposed to be that either, but you're supposed to be both of these combined. It's a spectrum between complete loser and complete fanatic, and either of these are not good, but combined they're basically perfect. That's what you're supposed to be. I am Jack's Smirking Revenge.